Next battleground here as Fnatic leads 1-0 at the moment against Ballistix. The next map will be Infernal Shrines as Fnatic takes us there.
All right, Infernal Shrines, this is going to be a really exciting one because of the potential for a really strong solo laner, a very strong solo Shriner.
Right.
That on Tomb of the Spider Queen, we don't always see that X factor of the solo lane that can push, can do damage, but then also can be used to clear these shrines. So I think that's one thing that Korea does very well, but Europe is very famous for on top of that. So that's what makes this map, specifically for me, a very exciting one.
It's time to get into the second draft then. At the moment, Fnatic 1-up against Ballistix. And if anything to take away from that first game, Grubby, as we get into this next draft, is that, you know, there's a lot of question marks over the stability and the position that maybe Fnatic's in, maybe the Koreans in, etc., and things like that. But Fnatic is able to hang with some of the best of them.
Yeah, and I think you can say that vice versa as well, as Fnatic is a 2-times tournament winner now. They can both hang with each other. It was incredibly close. Closer than any bracket phase game that we've seen so far.
Sticking with this Muradin though, once again, like I said before, this is their highlight pick. Not going to reveal too much with it. The response straight away with Muradin being taken off is the strongest in that tank position for ETC, and the Rhaegar as well, not only for the wave clear, but just such a diverse pick, the grey main of supports, if you will.
Pushing the ETC higher means that what we saw, the safe ban from Ballistix on the ETC last game won't happen this time, so it's a lot more depth to the draft of Fnatic, and it also gives Breeze one of his best heroes here. I think it's a strong opening year for Fnatic. And this is a situation now where Ballistix has to show their colors a little bit more. Tastar is removed this time, so they won't be able to just lock in that TAS here. So where do they take us? They still draft into the gray main. Rhaegar is removed. This puts Ballistix a little bit out of their comfort zone because Fnatic has just simply taken those top tier heroes, and Korea likes to draft them safely, and 2 are removed.
I'm still so interested about this Stitches ban, Grubby. Like, we saw it game number 1. It's coming out again game number 2. This is obviously something that's happened in scrims, because it's not something that we've seen very commonly come out of these two teams. But we talk about execution last game. The response from Ballistix is we're going to play the Genji for combination this time around ourselves.
Now, we have seen, of course, Breeze with Stitches in this tournament. He looked fantastic. Also, how could we forget about Wooby's Stitches? 2 of these players on Fnatic are so phenomenal with it. So it's not like it's weird in that sense. It's just that we've barely seen the hero in this tournament in general.
It was played once on this map by Fnatic. I believe it was actually in opening week. But beyond that, it's just been pretty, it's been absent from this tournament. Now, we're seeing the Dahaka highlight here. Talked about pushing power on this map. You're going to need more than just Divine Shield, Dragon Blades to win this map. This is a strong tool that can now be removed in terms of top lane pressure by Jungha. So this is a target towards Jungha in the top lane. I feel like Ballistix wants to run this, and they're going to remove it. So where we go from here for Ballistix is going to be quite interesting. It also might lead us to see a strong top lane pick here for Fnatic, like a Sonya, for example, or a Malthael in next rotation.
And another thing about the Dahaka, he's like a cheater in terms of positioning. He can come from any brush. So if you focus on ETC as a defensive hero to face melt away the enemy, then Dahaka can come from any side, so your backline is exposed. This could mean that Fnatic is running something that Dahaka might be good against. For example, Gul'dan, Kel'Thas, you know, something like that. Some kind of backline.
I mean, Fnatic, not only with the Stitches ban now there, but also the Chromie ban, has really instilled fear into Ballistix.
Yeah, I mean, this is a map, once again, very similar to Tomb of the Spider Queen, if not obviously larger, so it's really catering into that sort of hybrid between team fight pressure as well as macro, which is obviously what these two teams are about. But the Chromie respect, obviously, once again, it's about that point control. That's what I wanted to discuss briefly, but we never really got to see it happen from Fnatic, because they had fantastic boss controls. Same could be said about the shrines here, where it functions in that sort of same manner.
Yeah, one of the questions we had going into that last draft is how does Malfurion function, and I think the stuns that we saw from Anub'arak paired with the follow-up roots allowed Chromie to do so much damage. Still potentially could make that happen with an ETC instead of the Anub'arak, so Ballistix just not willing to take a risk against a hero that's so rare and really only played by MVP Miracle, crazy moving in the region. So what's Fnatic going to lock in here now that Chromie is removed? We're not going to see a strong solo laner. This time it looks like it's going to be just the Tyrael instead. And we're looking for the hyperest of hyper carry DPSs now.
I think this makes a lot of sense because Genji and Uther are also rule breakers. You've got 3 seconds of untouchable Dragon Blade. with that Divine Shield. So you need something that can survive that period of time. Look at something like Malfurion or Rhaegar. They're too easily isolated by such a thing. They will die in that space of 3 seconds. So you need massive shields, and Lucio and Tyrael bring up the rear with that.
Yeah, and ETC is incredibly squishy in a sense, so very vulnerable to the CC. With the Lucio and the Tyrael, you give yourself that window of not only survivability with the Sanctification, with that Sand Barrier, but also the mobility to run away. You talk about Rhaegar being very squishy in the sense that if Genji does get dived, or sorry, Genji and Muradin dive onto the Rhaegar, there is no self-cleanse, there is no self-ancestral, so that gives them that way to almost flip the switch in a team fight.
So this was almost necessary by Fnatic.
I think there's 2 really good ways Ballistix can try to counter this. One is the Li Ming Ana, which is still very strong here, still available.
I like that.
Or Sonya into a strong second DPS here. Will be the Li Ming. I was thinking it might actually be Sonya into Greymane, which would still give you 2 types of DPS sustain damage, and you can remove the Greymane, which I think is very, very likely to be the pick here for Fnatic as that final one. I suppose Lunara is another strong option though.
Lunara not doing that hot in this tournament yet. She got, I think she's 0-2 in this tournament.
You see a reset comp come out here by Ballistix. MVP Black running it just before against Expert with a Medivh. Obviously, you could sort of say, you can make a parallel between both of those compositions with the Sanctification and Sand Barrier here. At this stage, I'll be saying, yes, you do have that protection. You want that hyper carry, but you want to make sure that hero isn't too squishy to allow that snowball effect to take place.
Yeah, so that's why you're pretty much looking at Greymane. You could do Malthael, but it doesn't seem to make sense because it's hard for him to catch up to Genji and Li Ming.
Ooh, this is interesting. Vala comes through. So we talked about how this could be the choice here. Very strong hyper carry, very strong for the map, but how do you deal with the Sonya in the top lane with this composition? You're always going to have a bad matchup no matter who you send up there, and I think that's a big problem for Fnatic. They're going to be the ones who have to force the fights on the shrines themselves.
Yeah, I mean, similar situation as last game, really, where Fnatic had to force, but they did manage it.
Yeah.
In different ways too, you know, with Poke, it was how they forced it last game with those really good roots with the Anubrak and the range damage. In this case, it's going to have to be Vala just kind of getting in there with all that sustain and all that support.
100% vault forwards is what must be happening here to get that crit damage. You may never use it defensively. You vault into Sanctification, into Sound Barrier. You cannot have a shred of fear here as the Demon Hunter.
Yeah, you can definitely need to be playing aggressive here, because if you be playing this sort of passive style of like, I can't afford to be caught out of position, I can't afford to have a reset take place on myself, you're going to sort of be that sort of non-factor. You're going to really, I suppose, swing the balance of that fight against yourself. In terms of wave clear, it looks pretty even by both teams. Both teams really going for that sort of hyper-aggression. It's going to be a firework display here on Infernal Shrines.
All right, we are ready to head over to our commentary team here. Game number 2 here. Will Fnatic be able to take it on Infernal Shrines, or Ballistix make the comeback?
Ballistix may have a scary composition that intends to run over targets, but Fnatic, this is about can't even talk with this guy. Look at him.
We have a dancing Murky behind us.
You take it over, man. I'm just going to enjoy it. That's what I'm going to do.
I mean, look at the comp that we're actually having for them here. It feels like a Protect Quacknix composition. He didn't play that bad in the last game, I feel.
This is definitely a Protect Quacknix here. Vala going to be very, very aggressive. Prog definitely going to be picked up here for ETC. You know what? Let's go ahead and move into it. Game number 2, Infernal Shrines, as the rematch continues here as we watch Ballistix take on Fnatic.
The first game was actually, it was absolutely insane. It was everything you want from the first game of a best of 5, and we are heading into map number 2, Infernal Shrines. At the front line for the Swedes, it's Breeze on ETC, Quacknix on the hyper carry with Vala, Shrimpy on the first support, playing Rhaegar here. Wooby finds himself on Tyrael, and of course, Smexy himself on Lucio. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Fnatic!
SC playing Genji, Hooligan playing the Muradin, Jungwa playing the Sonya. Finally finishing up this roster, SDE will be playing Li Ming, and Swing will be playing Uther. Give it up for Ballistix!
We definitely have once again a situation where the Korean team is heavily banking on resets. We saw it from MVP Black earlier. They have the combo with Genji, with Li Ming. Every single kill will contribute to team fight momentum, and that's what they're trying to build up. It's going to be really difficult, though, to get that first kill against a Rega-Lucio combo with additional shields and sanctification later on from Tyrael. And let's not forget about ETC, who, of course, immediately went into Prog Rock as his level 1 talent.
While it may be difficult, you can't pick two better warriors here to get in that engage and force a fight. Muradin and Sonya together are great at forcing the fight. Breeze setting up the gank here, though, on the power slide. Soy being focused down. Fnatic sets up a trap, has Ballistix walked into it. Soy trying to get out. And he will! As he, though, maybe not so lucky. Oh my golly, he gets out!
Gets barely out here. SDE taking a lot of damage as well. 0 kills as we saw this little trap that Ballistix sets up nearly backfire against them. The fireworks starting early on map number 2.
Can't believe 2 members got out there with that low of HP. Ballistix just barely sneaking away from the fight. Now, if we go ahead and calm down a little bit, top lane, Tyrael versus Sonya.
Yeah, the interesting thing for me was actually that Genji, even though he just barely escapes, nearly got the kill down there. So it was incredibly impressive. But at this point, I really want to see if Ballistix can get these kills later on after level 10, if that's possible for them here with Sound Barrier in play, with, of course, a Sanctification as an option. It's going to be difficult, but once they start, these resets for Genji and Li Ming are going to be big. And once again, the trap has been set up here, but Smexy gets out unscathed.
Yes, plays around on the wall there. The Stormbolt comes out, but no major follow-up enough to get the kill there on Smexy as he dances around the entire shrine. Speaking of shrines, one does activate towards the middle, and both our teams are racing towards level 4 to set up. If you actually were to look at both teams, though, who do you think comes ahead in the shrine race?
In the Shrine race, I think it comes all down to the position. Once Fnatic establishes themselves on the Shrine, it's going to be a bit rough to push into it with all the defensive tools that they have here. But we have Sonya, of course, and that can be a huge game changer when you go for the race. Li Ming needs to be careful if she can get the combos off with all the minions dancing around and shielding Fnatic as well. So far, the Swedes are doing well here, and they are starting to go for the kill. They want it. They're going for Jonga. They're not getting the kill just yet. The whirlwind has already popped up, but now Sonya's in trouble, and Sonya goes down!
Gio taken out. Soy maybe also taken out too. He's on the side here, goes for the stun. Breeze getting lower and lower. Breeze taking damage. The heals coming out though, and Breeze will sneak on out. Wubby going in for some harassment, but a 1 kill here for Fnatic, and Ballistix has to back up and regroup.
Both teams came out firing on the first map on Duel the Spider Queen, and we kind of expected Ballistix, maybe Fnatic, to take it a bit slower on Infernal Shrines, but there's nothing like that. They go in from the get-go, and there's fight after fight, and only aggression as both teams still butt heads here. Fnatic getting ahead and very close to committing to the first Punisher here with a bit of a push through the mid lane, but definitely a very explosive second game already.
And Fnatic can play this slow if they want. They can get all the way to the last couple of minions, grab them when they would like to. They want to get that top lane and that bottom lane pushing up, grab all the experience, maximum value here for Fnatic. And the moment Ballistix steps forward, they can finally finish off those minions and start to push as a group in the middle lane. Great play here from Fnatic. Wonderful early game for them.
And of course it helps Breeze as well. He's really committing to the Prog Rock quest talent, and with them winning the objective, it's going to make it easier for him. He's at 11 stacks already, and now they are moving in. Once again, Punisher baited over the wall by Ballistix, providing the vision and then going for it, but Fnatic takes the opportunity to commit to the wall. In the meantime, though, while Tyrael finds himself at the bot lane, soaking experience against Genji, we have Sonya up at the top. Jonga trying to get out as Fnatic rotates in. Can they get the second kill against her?
No, barely getting out there as Sonya does. Sneaking away from the fight. A 4-man gank, just not enough, but still a great setup there from Fnatic. Ballistix able to push on the top a little bit and waste a couple of minions.
I'm in love with this series. The first game is awesome. The second one, fast rotations, aggression on both sides, and them trying to commit to these kills. Ballistix, they get out with Sonya. They're able to move back. They need to wait for level 7, but they're only a little bit behind in experience. So far, very even game still, but Fnatic has at least opened up the mid lane.
They've opened it up slightly there. Will be helpful when they grab mercenaries later on. They want to get a little bit of damage on top of that fort and try to dissuade Ballistix from fighting over the shrines. But a nice level lead here for Fnatic. 7 3/4, 7 1/4 here for Ballistix. About a half a level behind. But again, they still have kill potential. Remember, we're hitting that ever important level 7 that we have talked about all tournament here. Sonya and Muradin.
Yeah, not only that, also Calamity on Li Ming, but of course Sonya with a poison spear, so much damage output on her now, and Muradin, as you just alluded to, with a heavy impact for the stuns. So an incredible power spike for Ballistix that they can definitely use in the next few fights. And they've been looking for these traps the entire game, and they're trying to do it again. Quacknix is being attacked here, but moving out already. Waltz away, and immediately we have Lucio also helping out as they're trying to turn around and moving in. A great move from Smexy, putting Swan in a lot of trouble, and they get get the kill. Uta is down. Once again, Hooligan jumps in, tries to get a counter kill, and they're going for Lucio this time. Gets the cleanse and tries to move out. Hooligan also now extremely low as Fnatic tries to turn it around, confirm a second kill, or at least push in the wall.
Back and forth between these two teams. Just looking at it, we've had about 4 fights. We have only 2 kills between these two teams. That's how back and forth it is right now. Fnatic in the lead with those 2 kills, moving towards level 9 with the Shrine activating to the top. They threaten the bottom fort slightly while Ballistix will set up for defense, and they should be able to rotate and start clearing out that Shrine.
So just to take this back a step for now, Fnatic has 2 kills. Both of these fights ended in their favor. But let's just simply look at how this worked out. Every single time they get a kill, they barely make it out. Every time they have at least one party member nearly falling here. And once that Ballistix confirms these kills, their momentum is going to kick in with the resets. That's something to keep in mind here. Fnatic pulls ahead a little bit, but if Ballistix in any of these team fights starts to actually just push over this little edge and gets the kills, this could all turn against Fnatic.
And it all comes down to one ability hitting. Remember,
Yes.
Sonya missed at that spear on the ball.
Exactly.
The ball came out. Had that spear connected, Ballistix could have had 2 to 3 kills. Things are very minuscule between these two teams. Each little mistake definitely piling up. Fnatic already grabbing the Shrine to the top side. Ballistix probably gonna get this up. It's level 10 already for them. Them fighting is not gonna work out. Sonya on the bottom side, 3 in the middle. Ballistix, they just want 10.
It's such a perfect timing here for Fnatic, considering that they hit level 10 this early. Ballistix, they have to give up the position. They try to find experience on the remaining 2 lanes and now hit their own level 10, but they need to give up the Punisher up at the top.
The Punisher, 28-1 in lead for Fnatic. SC jumps in and shows himself here. Shwimpy is aware, calls out to his teammates. Now, what is Fnatic doing?
Ballistix need to be careful here. They have Sonya at the bot lane, and Fnatic can move to the top. It's 29 against 6. That's very unlikely that Ballistix can actually make a difference here. I would be surprised if they commit to that completely. Breeze just completed his prog rock as well. That gives Fnatic even more sustain on the position.
That's a speedy prog rock there for the ETC. Interior runs the bottom to defend against that Sonya, and Ballistix gives up the Punisher. Fnatic can now push in the top lane here. Tyrael trying to do his best to stop Genji and Sonya, who are currently soaking the other lanes.
And also, when we're talking about quest progress, Hooligan is actually pretty slow on his own. Once again, he's actually in trouble here. Gets cleansed and barely moves out. But if you look at his Stormbolt quest, he's currently only 10 stacks in. And that is 8 minutes into the game. Fnatic pushing heavily at the top now with a Punisher and take down the first fort of the game.
Now, this Punisher's at half health. There's not much you can get after that. Mostly they could maybe do is go for a keep wall, but Fnatic plays it slow. Remember how they opened up the fort in the middle lane earlier? They now have that option to transition down that middle lane and apply damage to that fort. So they're going to go ahead and start rotating down, but ooh, they're actually going for a sneaky gank here on the Sonya. Jongwa by himself, no one to help out, and Sonya will fall.
Absolutely no chance for him to get out of this situation, just going in a bit too deep. And that was well done by Fnatic. A quick rotation down, identifying that they had an opportunity there. And now they use it. They know Sonya is gone for another 10, so they can simply push in, at least take the fountain, and therefore take the lane sustain of their opponent away. But with now Shrimpy making his way down to the bot lane as well, they all of a sudden have an opportunity to take down the fort itself.
Fnatic is all over the map right now, rotating between the top, the bottom, the middle side,
Lucio.
trying to stay away. Exactly.
It's all about Lucio at this point.
Super fast here. That Lucio help him boost around there. And this is good. This is important. You need to do this against a Genji player. You don't want to be in a spot where they can group up as 5, jump on top of you with that Divine Shield into a Dragon Blade. Fnatic are playing around Ballistix as much as they can.
It's one of the main reasons why they could kill Sonya. Lucio, if he's in the team and he really speeds up the rotations, then you are not really ready for it. You expect that there might be a rotation coming your way, but you underestimate it quite often how fast they can reach you. And that's exactly what happened to Jongha a bit earlier. Sonya falling 3 kills against 0 by now in favor of Fnatic as they claimed level 13 early.
And that underestimation is hurting Ballistix. A total of 2 forts are down on their side. One stands in the middle, but with the Shrine activating soon, Fnatic can start to make plays for keep walls, even that fort in the middle.
And again, this is not over by a long shot, and Breeze is actually the one that's getting attacked here. Ballistix, throughout the entire game, has tried to set up these little traps, and they are now closing in on level 13 as well. So even though Fnatic has taken the lead, Ballistix is still very much in this.
Ballistix is scouted out here by Fnatic, but they're going to go ahead and take the Mercenary camp anyways. Fnatic has decided to go into the top lane pushing here. grab, of course, the Rhaegar, their Tyrael, push that top lane, and have the Merc camp pushing in.
This fight is going to be huge. 13 versus 13. If Ballistix loses here, they're going to lose another fort, and they might lose more. If they win this battle, on the other hand, that would be big for them. At the top lane, we see Fnatic pushing in with the camp right now. Cleanse already used his Wooby, was in a bit of trouble, didn't commit to anything just yet. No heroic abilities have been used except for Quatnix dropping the Rain of Vengeance here. We still have Ancestral, we still have Sanctification for Fnatic, and Ballistix has not gone in for the Dragon Blade Divine Shield yet.
But the cleanse has been used. Hooligan jumps in once more. SC on the backside. Volley getting focused down. Ancestral healing and the Sound Barrier. A bit of overlap. Divine Shield being used to spin here for jungle. He's getting lower and lower. We're seeing Fnatic constantly going forward, trying to force his fight.
Sanctification has already been used. We have SC extremely low. He's trying to go in regardless. ETC goes down, but so does Genji. It's a 4 versus 4. We have Ballistix moving in once again with another quick spear from Jonga. He's about to fall. He actually dies. A great move from Smexy. They push Meredith in. They get the triple kill.
Smexy will save that fight there for Quatnix. He finishes up with the blow. Swoy trying to escape, but Wubby says no. Brings out Druid's in, and 4 members fall. 4 Ballistix. Fnatic runs over and claims their prize, the Shrine.
Fnatic showing some nerves at the beginning of the battle, overlapping the ults on the support, using Sound Barrier and Ancestral at the same time, and shortly after that, even committing to Tyrael's Sanctification. But they still, as Chaos erupts, are able to have the coordination and the discipline to take Ballistic down slowly and steadily.
Let's check out this fight again. Jungla moves in. He got the Divine Shield. He was swirling around constantly. Quatnix got low. The orb missed just barely, and that was enough. Quatnix was kiting left and right with the help of Smexy. Look at him, bringing those knockbacks in, allowing for the team to get those 2 kills. Smexy, MVP in that fight.
But we also come back to the same point. Vala, by all means, should have died there.
Yeah.
And if Quatnix falls, then all of a sudden the damage is missing and we get more resets for Li Ming. So that fight was insanely close. It could have gone the other way. Fnatic, they're doing whatever they can and they're pushing the envelope. They're getting ahead, but Ballistix, they are still very much so fighting and having a good chance in every battle. But the problem for them is the talent advantage for Fnatic as they push for the first keep.
That's right, that holy ground. We always talk about it when it comes to Tyrael. Now the Punisher does fall, but 16 is still here. Wubby will have one more holy ground up soon. Able to kite backwards. Breeze is the brunt of the damage here in the front side, but with the heals behind him, he is just fine. Fnatic even posturing up here, wanting to poke a little bit.
Yeah, they are in a fantastic spot. So far, everything has gone their way. It was always close, but they got out of all the team fights with an advantage. The 7-to-1 kill ratio doesn't really do the game any justice yet. Ballistix super close, but now they have to sit there. They have to sit there, take it, and say, guys, just wait. We need 16. We can't do anything before we have the next talent.
Fnatic still has a full level here to play around with, and they're going to go ahead and grab the Merc camp in the middle side to have it push in, put some damage on that keep if it pushes forward, but also to grab this keep wall. Open up the map more. You want those Punishers that you get in the future to go straight to keeps.
And I mean, we have talked about them having 16, but what does it actually mean? Look at the talents that we see here. First of all, we have Lucio with the 16, a massive power spike for him, and the heal and sustain that Fnatic now has is incredible. Then also Holy Ground. Every single fight that we see around the shrines is going to be a death trap potentially for Ballistix when Holy Ground gets activated. And let's not forget about Frost Shot.
Can't forget about Frost Shot. The ability to kite backwards or even to chase if you need to against multiple melees that Sonya and that Murden, if they ever over-engage and Fnatic finds that moment to thread a needle, they can push forward because of that Frost Shot. So big pickups here for Fnatic, but Ballistix is about to get their own 16.
Oh yeah, and once they have 16, Murden can engage heavily into the backline. And then Quatnix's life is even more so on the line because they are going to try and jump in whenever they can. Murden going in, Genji going in, Li Ming attempting to land a combo. If Vala falls, Fnatic's fight potential is eradicated.
All right, one more shrine activating in 20 seconds. Both teams preparing for this shrine. The Merc camp stolen by Fnatic on the top right, a big win for them. That prevents Ballistix from pushing back on the top side. Now they're going to grab their own camp, have that push in, and this buys them time. If Ballistix even takes 4 to 5 seconds to clear that out, that's 4 to 5 seconds that Fnatic has to clear out shrine.
And Fnatic is taking another camp at the bottom of the map. They were actually thinking about grabbing both, but realized that they needed to make their way to the top a bit faster. So we saw them both committing to one camp instead, trying to get the push going in the mid lane, where the keep is already exposed. But this allows Ballistix to take the position. And now they have 16. They have the stuns. They have the engage with Murden, and they're waiting for the chance.
Yes, Ballistix has committed to the idea of clearing out the shrine and stopping a fight. Hooligan has to use his jump defensively. He jumps away from the fight. Jungwa continues to clear on the top side, and Fnatic says, okay, you can clear those minions. We're going to chase Sway down.
Fnatic driving the wedge into the setup of Ballistix. Here they go for Jonga. They push him away. Make sure that Uther doesn't get the Divine Shield. There's the kill. Sonya goes down. The mosh pit's hitting too. Swoy is eliminated. He throws the Divine Shield out. Liming is on the run. You can run, but you can't hide. Liming is down. It's a triple kill. And Fnatic doesn't even bother with the Shrine anymore. They go straight into that mid lane.
They're straight to the mid lane here. They want this keep here. It's already damaged nicely here. They have the minion wave stacking up. Quagnix in the back left sees SC. Not going to try and catch him here. They want to focus the keep. This is their prize. This is what they want. 20 seconds for Uther. 15 for Sonya. 20 for Li Ming. They jump on the core. They're focusing it down. The armor starting to fall slowly.
Breeze is going for it. Every single one targeting here. SC, they're trying to take him down. The core is falling slowly but steadily. Uther back in another 5. Li Ming not here just yet. Fnatic, they're going straight in for it. And this is game as Fnatic takes a 2-0 lead over Ballistix in the semi-final at BlizzCon.
Fnatic core rushes, a special from Quagnix that we see time and time again. They find their 2 kills. They section off Sonya in the top lane brilliantly. Get the kill there, grab another one, and go straight down the middle and take the core.
They knew that they were aiming for the Divine Shield on Sonya. Jonga went into them because he realized Uther is going to be my savior. And then Breeze goes in, gets the face melt, pushes him off, drops the mosh pit and says, not today. Sonya goes down, and in a 5 versus 4 situation, Ballistix just doesn't stand a chance anymore.
Ballistix gonna take some time here and reset, get ready for that game number 3, but Fnatic coming out on fire. And I gotta admit, I was a bit worried about them before coming into it. They were thinking that they were gonna have a hard time against Ballistix. But again, it has been a razor edge in every single team fight.
Yeah, definitely. Those team fights were incredibly close, especially since everything on Ballistix side hinged on those resets. And they only got one kill the entire game. They couldn't really do a whole lot with the strength of their composition here. So they definitely need to change their MO a little bit for the upcoming 3rd game.
Well, let's go ahead and get ready for game number 3 as we head over to our host and our analysis.
Thank you very much, guys. Of course, 2-0 now to Fnatic. And I think between group stage, the start of even this bracket stage, there's kind of that shift where Fnatic came in and they weren't really showing much, even if any double support, maybe some shields here and there. But this double support comp that they're kind of running into this series looks very formidable, and they've been kind of holding it back a little bit.
And for me, the series was really taken by Smexy on the Lucio, who was able to get those kills, and by Jonga, who was overextending in lane many times, going on the Shrine solo. Hey, if we point fingers at anybody in this game, I think everyone is pointing fingers at Jonga. Fnatic punished time and time again. They had the better team fights. They split Ballistix when those overextensions were coming through, especially by Jonga. And it was the ETC stuns coming through. Smexy always with these Lucio boops at the perfect angle that won them the early game, and they just ran with that momentum.
I think the theme for me was the word control. Control from the start of the game, control from the get-go, really. And the ebb and flow that we discussed really was the go-to right there. They control with aggressive and defensive cooldowns. They had the ability to then out-sustain and outlive a single Uther support. That then allowed them to have this fantastic sieging potential. You could see when they ran up to go for mid lane, for bot lane, they had Lucio, they had Rhaegar, they had healing walls. They could stick around, they could dictate those fights. And as you mentioned, yeah, the Jonga getting caught out there. He's trying to play that macro game, which is Ballistix to a T, right? He's overextended, they're allowing that Lucio then to come in with that big gank potential. And you know, Fnatic are looking quite clean. And the only thing I really wanted to add to that is we didn't really see too much from Fnatic during that opening week because they didn't really have the hardest road there compared to what Ballistix had. So it's interesting to sort of assess these power levels now they're on the biggest stage possible.
Pressuring someone like Sonya before she has Mystical Spear at level 13, she's a prime target if you're able to get up there quick enough. Yeah,
the punishing by Fnatic was good, but let's keep in mind this is an unforced error. You need to do your due diligence that if the rotation is possible, it's probably happening at this level. So Jonga will need to shave up a bit on those on that map awareness, or maybe the calls of his teammates. Now, those were the macro things. I have a really cool team fight here in the replay that I'd love to show everyone. As we kind of see, as we just pause it here for a second, we see this, right? We see Genji in this state. We have 29 skeletons right now for Ballistix. 30, actually, against 11. So we're in a situation where there is no need for Ballistix to go in. Furthermore, they're all hurt, whereas Fnatic is very healthy. Now, as we roll it forward slowly, we can see that a call is made nonetheless because Breeze is out of cooldowns. So we're going to roll it forward. You see SCSC go in. He will instantly fall to Quacknix. Pause. But SDE does confirm the kill there on ETC. So this was the goal. It's now a 4 versus 4 situation. Now Li Ming gets her resets, and she's going to try and take out Vala, who will try to escape as follows. If this works, like the casters correctly pointed out, and let's roll it forward, Ballistix will win this shrine. They will win the objective. Now take a look at the trajectory of the Arcane Orb. Pause. It looked like Vala was going to try and escape in this direction, and that's kind of what SDE was trying to account for, but had he tried that, he would have aimed the orb here to cut off the path. Alternatively, he could have aimed the orb right here. Like that. But he went kind of for a middle way, and this is just a slight unfortunate misangling that allows Vala to get away as we roll it forward. Now the call was made. Flip the switch, despite the hurt. Uther doesn't have to sustain to go on, and they will flip the switch indeed. Ballistix, they go in. Sonya has to commit more because SDE missed the orb. Now Hooligan has to commit more, and Quacknix stays alive, and the Punisher goes to Fnatic. Now these are small little things that forced many deaths because of one ability, just showing how important that can be.
And that seemed to really be the theme of what Ballistix were running. We talk about the fact of a reset comp. They need to get the ball rolling. They need to get those kills happening to allow them to win that team fight. And you could see there, if they weren't able to sort of kill secure, so to speak, it was all up on Fnatic to utilize those cooldowns, that mobility factor, the ability to try and turn the fight around. That's what happened. The multi-shot being a fantastic adaptation to allow them to spread that damage across and really force Swoid in a bit of a precarious situation.
Well, that is game 2 in the books overall, as we now head into a short break. When we're back, game